So, Jen, as just a woman in general, let's not even as a mom, as a woman in general, why should we be intentional with our time? Like people, I don't have kids, or oh, I'm out of that stage. Why is it important? Why is this conversation important to those people?
Well, I'm glad you asked. I've been reading this book, Created for Work. You guys ever heard of this book?
Mm.
It's fantastic, like life-changing. It's very simple, very easy to understand. Um, but it's just these little tiny chapters. Basically, the author just tells stories and then he shares what he has learned from the stories. But it just talks a lot about how fulfilling work is for us and
Mhm.
how fulfilling purpose. Like we all need purpose from the small 2, 3, 4 year old children in our houses to, the 80, 90-year-old women in our families and in our churches. We all need purpose. And a lot of our purpose is found in fulfilling work. And where we are working in our homes with children still here, I know that there are women listening who don't have children in their homes, or who have already raised their children and now they have, grandchildren somewhere, or children who are or people who are young, women who are young and haven't started their families yet. So I wanted to share something from this book that I think is super helpful for all of us. And it's the chapter on maintenance. And the author here is Bob Schultz, and he talks about how easy it is to build a new house. The hard work is in the maintenance of it,
Mhm.
maintaining over the years. He says it's easy to plant a tree, you just put a little seed in the dirt, right? But the hard work is in the maintenance of that tree and the watering and the caring for it later, the pruning, all of the things, the fertilizing, all of the things that had to be done later. And then he brings in the scripture and he talks about a passage of scripture that is really directed toward men, because this book really is geared toward men. But I'm telling you, you can't find it anywhere. It's ridiculously expensive. It's like $70 on Amazon. I had to get my library to find it for me. But if you can find it, like it's a game changer. It really is, especially for your kids. Every child, every young boy, I'm making the girls in my house read it too. But and again, I don't know the author. I'm not trying to make any money off of a plug here. I'm just saying this is a life-changing book. But he talks about how Paul says in Timothy, when they're looking for men who could qualify as leaders of the church, they
Mhm.
look to see how the house is run. How is the house kept? How are the children, growing? And it says Paul understood that it was easier to give birth to children than to provide the attention required to rear them into self-controlled, useful citizens. So, speaking to those who aren't in the season of caring for children, um, I think the young women need to know that it's okay to choose motherhood. It's okay to choose that as your career, right? And I think Emily has some things to say about that, so I'll leave that to her. But I just want you to know that it's okay if that's your dream. It's okay. And then to the women who either God didn't give children to, who have, not become mothers, or have already raised their children, that your work isn't done. Like there's lots and lots of children who could use your love and concern and intentionality, especially the grandparents. Our society, there's such a gap, um, in in what we call like the retirement age era, like we're in this era of retirement where people get to retirement and they're like, okay, now I'm going to do everything that I wanted to do. Well, there's a gap that's being left because biblically speaking, the grandparents were playing a huge role in the lives of their grandchildren. Especially if you look at Abraham and some of those old Bible heroes, the roles that they played as the patriarchs of their families. And I know patriarch is such a hot topic word, but it is very important that those gaps are not there, that our grandparents or the grandparents of our children are making an effort to build relationships and to set examples and to be intentional about how they are influencing the generation that their children are raising. So I think there's work for everyone. I think there's purpose to be found in impacting the lives of children. And I know it's easier to plant the tree than to maintain it, but I think that it's very fulfilling if you can find a place to plug in, to get involved with whether it's nieces or nephews or grandchildren, or if it's children in your church or children in schools or wherever, there's somewhere that you can be actively influencing the next generation for Jesus. And like Emily said, trying to get some of those souls to heaven with us.
Mhm.
I don't know, maybe that's a practical application there for the women that aren't in that specific season.
Absolutely.
Definitely. And Emily, um, motherhood is a beautiful thing. As three moms, we, like you said, I'm not going to speak for Jen, but I'm going to piggyback off what you said, Emily, and say that there are times when I understand why wild animals eat their young. And there are times when I'm like, oh my goodness, this is a gift. This is a gift from the Lord. And I have to remind myself of that in those moments, like, they're a blessing. They're a blessing. I'm gonna lose my mind. But it is such a gift. And you have this beautiful um passion for I don't want to say motherhood because I think we all have a passion for being moms and we love being moms. Um, but you just have this beautiful passion about motherhood. And I just, quick little, because I know that between the three of us, we could probably go on for the next 45 minutes. Um, but, just in a quick, like, 3-minute summary, I guess. Sorry to put you on a time frame. What would you say to those people that are like, oh, aspire for more than just being a mom? To those people who want to be moms, okay? I'm not talking to people who don't want to be moms, who don't feel called to that. I'm talking to those people who are like, I feel that God is calling me to be a mom. And people are like, oh, no. What would I?
Your timing is perfect to ask that question because I was just talking with a young girl yesterday who she's out of college and she's done well in school, and she was in a conversation recently with two people who they were asking her what are your ambitions, and she's like, well, I've always wanted to do this and this, but she said ultimately I really would like to be a wife and a stay-at-home mom. So that's my ultimate goal. And one of the responses was, oh, I think that's really cool. And these were two men. It's like, that's really cool. And then the other was like, but you've got so much to give the world. And um and she was actually kind of hurt by that response. And so our conversation ended up being about the high honor and calling it is to be a mother. And it is the sweetest thing that if the Lord will give you children, what an opportunity to raise them for him. And there's no such thing as, oh, I'm just a mom. When we're in the circles of even in within our churches, what do you do? And the response may be, oh, I'm just a mom. Oh my goodness, you have the opportunity to affect generations, that this life that the Lord has put into your hands, that you can change the world through that child. And that our main goal in life is to love the Lord with all of our hearts and to love our neighbors as ourselves. But we're also called to go and create disciples. And through motherhood, that is the way we can do that as well. That happens within your home. And I know it's hard to, I know the Lord called me home. I know the Lord called me to be a stay-at-home mom, but when push came to shove, and here we've got this brand new baby, and I know the Lord wants me to be at home with her, and we're looking at the finances like, oh, how in the world can I quit my job and I know this is going over 3 minutes, forgive me, but I'll make it really quick. I, our income was cut in half, well, more than half. And so, anyways, all I can say is if the Lord has called you home, He will provide. If that is what He wants you to do, He will give you the funding. I am here to say that is the way He has done it in my life. And I've talked to so many other moms who are like, there's no way we can make it financially. And he somehow adds it all together. My husband, Jason Bird, he is a CPA. He does all this budget stuff, and he will tell you we should be in the red. I don't know how it's working out. The finances don't make sense, but it is God math, and God math is miraculous. So if you know that the Lord is calling you home and what you want to be as a mother, what a sweet, honorable calling that is. It's not, I'm just a mom or I'm just a homemaker. That is nothing to be ashamed of, but it's something to be held in high esteem. And the Lord has found you to be trustworthy to give you a child to be able to do that. What a sweet gift, and it's nothing to ever be frowned upon or looked down upon, even though our society sometimes looks down upon that. But it is such an honor and a wonderful calling to what's the word? I'm missing my word. Anyways, to run towards. So anyways, sorry. I know that was probably 5 minutes. Forgive me.
No, oh my goodness, you're totally fine. We love to hear from you. So, well, I have thoroughly enjoyed our conversation today. And I think that whether you're a mom whether you're a mom at all, if you're a mom that works in like outside of your home, or you are a mom who stays at home with your kids, stays at home, you guys are always running all around and you don't stay at home. Um, the Lord has given each of us a calling, and to live in any way other than what He's calling us to is disobedience.
Right.
And so if you are a mother who's called to stay home, and you stay home, right? Because that's what you're called to do. If you're a mother who's called to work outside of the home, you work outside of the home because that's what your calling is. And if you have never been a mother or not currently, in a phase where you're raising kids, you're still called to make disciples, right? In all seasons, all callings, across all three of those, the spectrum, we are called to make disciples. And so I think with that as our focus, it can kind of help us to be intentional with our time and our words and realize that both of those have weight in eternity. So, but I have loved talking with you guys today, and we are so excited summer is here. So excited that we took the month of May off. Sorry, you guys, but we are here. We're back. We will talk to you guys again in 2 weeks.